Welcome to the 11th instalment of this journey across the Premier League series, in which we drop the fascinating history behind all the grounds in the Premier League. Today, we're back in the land of Scousers to talk about the fascinating history about Liverpool and their ground, Anfield. Our story starts in the late 19th century, and if you've ever watched our Goodison Park video, you'd be aware that a certain club of the toffee variety were the first occupiers of Anfield after they were kicked out of Stanley Park. Everton would develop the stadium to have a capacity of 20,000 spectators, but a dispute between Everton and the owner of Anfield, John Holding, would eventually see Everton move over Stanley Park to a new ground called Goodison Park. Left with an empty stadium, Holding decided to form a new club to occupy the ground, who went by the name of Liverpool FC and Athletics Ground Limited, with the first game the club played was a friendly against Rotherham Town, not to be confused with the United chaps, with Liverpool winning 7-1. Liverpool's first competitive game would come a year later against Lincoln City, with the Reds winning 4-0. As the club started to grow, they would enlist the help of our Scottish lads, Archibald Leach, to design the club a new stand which could hold an extra 3,000 Scousers. It was in 1906 when Anfield would be transformed, building a new stand along the Walton Breck Road, with the local journalist Ernest Edwards christening the new stand the Siphon Kop, which was named after a famous hill in South Africa in which numerous British soldiers, many of them from Liverpool, lost their lives fighting for during the Boer War in 1900. Not much would change on the stadium until 1928, when the Kop was redesigned and extended to accommodate for 30,000 fans, as well as popping a roof on top. Also in the same year saw the installation of the topmast of the SS Great Eastern, one of the first iron ships designed by Brunel, completed in 1859, which is still there today, being used as the flagpole. The stadium would get its first set of floodlights in 1957, being first switched on for a match against none other than Everton FC. Moving into the mid-1970s, and the stadium had been completely transformed from this to this, which included a new Kemlyn Road and Anfield Road stands, but the biggest of them all was the main stand, which was partly demolished and extended backwards with a roof stuck on top. It was in 1982 when the stadium would get one of its most iconic landmarks, the Shankly Gates, which were named after Liverpool's former manager, Bill Shankly. The gates would have the phrase, "You'll never walk alone," which was the title of a song by Liverpool band Gerry and the Pacemakers, which fans would adopt as the club's anthem during Shankly's time as manager. But you probably knew that anyway. Anfield would get transformed into an all-seater stadium after the Taylor Report, which included an expansion of the Kemlyn Road stand with the addition of a second tier, as well as boxes and suites for the prawn sandwich brigade.
The most exciting thing for me during the afternoon was the chicken and mayonnaise sandwich, Jeff. That was about the only thing that I thought was worth, you know what I mean, worth talking about, I thought.
These plans would have come about decades earlier, but the club would run into a bit of trouble from two sisters, Joan and Nora, who refused to sell their house until 1990. The newly expanded stand was opened in 1992 and would be renamed the Centenary Stand, which you can probably guess was 100 years since the club was founded. In 1994, standing was given the boot within the infamous Kop, reducing the capacity from over 30,000 down to just 12,390. In 1999, the Shankly Gates would get a new mate with the opening of the Paisley Gateway in front of the Kop stand to commemorate Liverpool's manager, Bob Paisley, who managed the team, and that Souness moustache, to 6 league titles and 3 European Cups in the space of 9 years as manager. Fergie, eat your heart out. Unlike its Blue Scouse brother, Liverpool's future is firmly set at Anfield, with ever-increasing plans to expand the capacity of the stadium. However, the club did float with an idea of a new 60,000-seater stadium in Stanley Park during the 2000s, but thankfully the club came to its senses. Now it's your turn, Everton.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving! The show goes on!
During the 2010s, the club have embarked on more expansion, with the first phase being the expansion of the main stand, adding a third tier and 8,500 seats, with it opening in 2016. The second phase will see the Anfield Road end expanded, adding an extra 7,000 seats, with it expected to open by summer 2023, taking the overall capacity of the stadium to 61,000. A video about Anfield wouldn't be complete without talking about the "This is Anfield" sign, which was installed by Bill Shankly at the tunnel exit to instill fear into the opposition before going out to play a match, which certainly worked on Riyad Mahrez.
Riyad Mahrez, this is the biggest moment of your career for City. Hit the target. Alisson knows nothing about you. Come on.
The sign is traditionally touched by Liverpool players before going out on the pitch, but when our favourite German manager, Old Scratch and Sniff himself, Jurgen Klopp, banned his players from touching it until they won a major trophy, and considering they've won both the Champions League and Premier League, it seems to have worked a treat. So Nuno, you know what to do.
Winning titles and challenging. You're in. I'm doubtful of you anyway, but you're confirming you're in quickly land.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and join us as we carry on our journey across the Premier League. Also, feel free to leave a comment if you have any fascinating knowledge about Anfield that we didn't mention. Next up is that team that's renowned for having an absolute shit ton of money.
What do you got in there? Cinder blocks?
$500,000 in cash.
That's the spirit.
That's right, it's Manchester City and their ground of the the Etihad Stadium. This has been a civil conversation, and I will see you in the next video.